I need your help, please subscribe my channel. The last thing I remember before stepping out the door was the thump of my own heartbeat, loud enough to drown every other sound. The rain hammering outside, the hum of the fridge, even the soft creak of the floor. My eyes were locked on the text glowing on her phone. Last night was amazing. You always know how to make me feel alive. But the name attached to those words wasn't mine. The phone slipped through my fingers and hit the kitchen tiles with a snap that felt impossibly real. She looked up from the sofa, face draining of color as our eyes met. "Alex," she whispered. "Please just let me explain." But I didn't need an explanation anymore. The truth was staring me straight in the face, and it scorched everything we had built together. Half a decade before, Sarah and I had been married 7 years. We met in college. She buried herself in books and writing. I was chasing a commerce degree. There was something about her presence that quieted the chaos around her. I fell for her completely, convinced she was destined to be mine. We bought a cozy house on the outskirts of Seattle, boards creaking underfoot, vines curling along the porch. I worked long shifts at a shipping company. She taught language arts at the local high school. We dreamed of trips, children, a simple shared life. But slowly the distance grew. She lingered at work more and more. I slept on the couch more often, not out of anger but because dozing in front of the TV hurt less than the emptiness of our bedroom. Then came that night, the message that destroyed it all. I left without shouting, without smashing anything. I grabbed a gym bag, my travel essentials, and enough cash to disappear for a while. She begged, pleaded, tried to reason, but I was beyond listening. Every word from her mouth sounded like static against the thunder of my own thoughts. I stepped into the storm and never looked back. I moved across the country from Wyoming to Utah, changed my phone number, deleted my online presence, started going by my middle name Jordan. I shared my location with no one. I vanished. I found work as a woodworker for a small restoration company. Rebuilding homes, furniture, and spaces became therapy. The smell of sawdust, the ache in my muscles, the simplicity of creating something real. It grounded me. But nights were the hardest. In the quiet, memories would creep back. Her laugh in her sleep, the way she hummed while cooking, the soft "I love you" she'd say as if it were a vow. And each memory reminded me of the one who shattered it all, who had done it knowingly. 5 years later, in Salt Lake City, I was running a modest home renovation business when she found me. Fall had arrived, crisp air, leaves swirling across the sidewalk, my breath fogging in the chill. I was finishing up a vintage project when I heard the clip of heels behind me. I turned. There she was. Older, slightly slimmer, hair trimmed neatly, eyes carrying a weariness I hadn't seen before. A tan jacket, phone held like a shield. "Alex," she said softly. "I finally found you." For a moment I wondered if she was real. A ghost of my past conjured from memory. But she was solid. Real. Standing there, and with her a storm of emotions. Anger, dread, longing, regret, all mixed together. "How?" I asked, my voice colder than I intended. "I hired a detective," she admitted. "I needed to face you." I let out a dry laugh. Half a decade late. She recoiled slightly but held my gaze. "I get it. You've earned that reaction. But please hear me out," she said. Part of me wanted to turn her away, to send her back to the life she'd made after leaving. But there was that familiar softness in her eyes, the same plea from the night I walked out, and I nodded slightly, letting her speak. We settled in at a nearby cafe. She wrapped her hands around a warm mug, fingers trembling, and slowly she began. "That night, the text you saw, it happened," she said, voice breaking. "I was unfaithful. It wasn't a mistake. I chose it, and I hate myself for it every day. It was a colleague," she explained. "It started when she stopped showing up for dinners, when we became more like roommates than partners. She thought feeling desired elsewhere would ease the emptiness." I stayed silent. The air between us thickened. She met my eyes, shimmering with unshed tears. "I ended it that same night," she said. "I wanted to tell you, but you were gone before I could." I nodded slowly. She didn't try to justify it. Perhaps she was right. Remorse came too late, after the damage was done. I had moved on, tried to rebuild my life, tried to love again, even in different cities, but nothing erased her from my mind. "I never stopped loving you, Alex," she said quietly, almost to herself. I looked out the cafe window, watching the rain streak down the glass. I wanted to hate her, to call her unworthy of love. But the truth was harder. 5 years hadn't erased her. It had only cemented the part of my heart she once held. I took a deep breath. I rehearsed 1,000 speeches for this moment, I admitted softly. Sometimes I thought I'd forgive. Sometimes I wanted to make you feel the pain you caused. But now, I'm just tired. The rain pattered between us. Finally, she reached into her bag and pushed a small, faded envelope across the table. "It's yours," she said. I opened it carefully. Inside was a note, worn and folded from years of handling. "Alex, if these words reach you, I've found the courage to admit how I broke you. I would undo every moment if I could. Forgiveness isn't mine to claim, but not a day went by without me regretting it. You were my anchor and I set it on fire. These 5 years changed me, not us. If your heart ever allows another conversation even once, I will wait forever. Sarah." My throat tightened. I refolded the note, placing it back in her hands. "You kept this for 5 years?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "I had to." Her eyes pleaded, wishing to reclaim what was lost, rebuild the ruins. But there was nothing left to reclaim. I had mastered living on my own, yet loving her remained an unlearned instinct. "I forgive you," I said finally. Her eyes widened, tears spilling down her cheeks. "But this ends here. No second chance." She nodded, swallowing her tears. "I understand." She stood, preparing to leave, and before she walked away she whispered, "You were my greatest gift. I'm sorry it took me so long to realize it." I watched her step into the rain, mirroring my own departure 5 years ago. Seasons passed. Her words and the note resurfaced in my mind from time to time. The anger was gone, replaced by a quiet, gentle sorrow. Forgiving her preserved our history but freed me from its chains. I still work with wood, crafting homes, furniture, and small items. And that note sits in a small wooden box, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as proof that broken hearts can find peace. Because love isn't always about permanence. It's about learning, surviving, and rebuilding. Even after everything falls apart. And I've rebuilt my life. But a fragment of me will always remember that stormy evening, and the woman who taught me how deep regret could run.